Hello and welcome to session 43 of the Abomination Vaults Campaign Diary. Merry Christmas. I apologise that it's taken me a while to get this one out. It's been a very busy time period. I recently had my 30th birthday, which is weird. Not a fan of that, but what are you going to do? This might be the last video before Christmas. It depends if I can get another Lancer video before then, so we'll see. If it is, then Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays. I hope you all have a great seasonal time. When we left off, Wrin was under attack. The Gauntlight had fired, beaming down on the ruins of the Thirsty Alpaca Tavern, and a horde of undead kobolds were making their way with intent towards Wrin's wonders. The Thirsty Alpaca has some really interesting lore about how there was a clan of kobolds living beneath it that accidentally collapsed it in on themselves. There were deaths and people now avoid it due to what they assume is ghosts, but is actually supposed to be alive kobolds. I've kind of scrapped the alive kobold side, and since this tavern doesn't really have any relevance to the story, I decided that this would make the perfect opportunity to bring it into the story, since my players do know about this lore. So when we kicked off, our party were rushing across town, trying to get to Wrin's wonders before these kobolds did, trying to intercept them. They were a little bit too slow, and by the time they got there, the kobolds were between Wrin and the party. Since the Gauntlight is a collection of very tight spaces, it does not present itself well to the use of troops. And ever since I read about troops, I've really wanted to use them, and this felt like the perfect opportunity. Since there is no undead kobold troop, I reskinned a deluded mob as being kobolds. I gave it the undead trait and the mindless trait. This stat block is obviously level 4, so it's not really designed to pose too much of a threat. I actually chose it specifically to make our heroes feel really strong, since they've been kind of getting their shit kicked in recently, and I wanted them to feel powerful for a little bit. And I have a part 2 of the fight planned, which will be the actually scary bit. Since everybody easily outpaced the zombies in initiative, they set to work cleaving through as many kobolds as they could. Since Milo now has the Undead Slayer archetype, he has the ability to recall knowledge upon rolling initiative if that initiative is being rolled against an undead. He asked if these guys have any particularly nasty abilities, to which the answer is no. These guys are about as plain as they come in terms of monster stats, but since this was the first time the party was experiencing troops, the troop was the interesting part of the monster. And I also wanted to keep it kinda simple. Since this was a new monster type to them, they were pretty cautious at first, mostly using ranged attacks to try and pick off some of these enemies, or doing prep actions. I did add Wrin to the initiative, but I made her first turn her kind of arriving cinematically. She heard a disturbance outside, she put down her tea and her book, and she went to check it out, in which she saw an army of kobolds chasing towards her. Gorgon was the first to engage as he rushed forwards, and he blasted them with an electric arc. Spook rushed to the enemy, tumbled through them, and then critically hit with a strike, which killed swaths of the horde. May was next to act. She also rushed towards them, and she also critically hit. And this was with her flashing sparks ability, which meant she could ignite the horde. I was a little unsure on how persistent damage works with a horde creature, with a troop, so I kind of assumed that in this case, the flames would just ripple throughout the horde and ignite them all, and that's why the persistent damage would hurt a troop. I think that's correct. Let me know in the comments if I've messed that up. This damage, though, was enough to push them past the first threshold, so they went from 4 large-sized chunks down to 3. I had planned this encounter to be a bit of a power trip, but I wasn't expecting them to get through it so damn quickly. My players were absolutely overwhelming these kobolds. And the kobolds were here with a specific target, so rather than fighting back against Rosewarden, they rushed towards Wrin. They managed to close the distance and attack her. Since she critically failed her save against the troop attack, this meant she took double damage. Luckily for her, they rolled a 1 on the damage, so she took 2 damage on a crit, which is insane. Good job, kobolds. One Effects was enjoying the chance to let loose a little bit and not have to focus on healing, so she started blasting them with spells, and even went for a rare moonbeam. The horde was a fair distance away from most of the party now, so our melee fighters like Milo, May, Gorgon, and Spook had to spend the majority of this next round catching up with them. Wrin is not really a combat character, and her spells kind of mirror this. What she does have, though, is the heal spell. And since that hurts undead, this felt like the perfect opportunity to hit them with a 3-action heal. This did pretty good damage to the Horde, reducing their threshold again and leaving them with only 2 chunks. Spook and May managed to catch up with the Horde and began just tearing through them. And between the two of them, they could easily finish off the rest of these zombies. And for the moment, everything seemed to calm down. However, just like last time the Gauntlight fired, it isn't only capable of raising the already dead, it can also beam out new enemies. As the party began to check on Wrin, the light shifted and centered directly on the group. And suddenly a totem mask appeared, locking its attention on Wrin once again. So why did I choose this monster? It basically came down to me having the bestiary open, filtering it to level 7 undead, and then scrolling through and seeing what kind of caught my eye at the time. I had purposely not pre-picked this monster because I wasn't sure how the troop would deal with the party. Obviously the kobolds were focused fully on Wrin, but the way they attack is essentially a circle around them, so they hit everything. Meaning they could have passively damaged the party quite badly while trying to attack Wrin. If that had been the case, I would have needed an easier monster for part 2. In this case, the kobolds did basically nothing to the party, so having a stronger monster for part 2 was what was required. As a party level +2 creature, this foe was able to easily avoid some of our party's attacks and abilities, and the party went from tearing reliably through the kobolds to really struggling to take down this monster. It was actually Wrin who dealt first blood when she used a vitality lash on the totem mask, but she did also begin panicking and backing up into her tent as all of these creatures were randomly attacking her, focusing on her, and she had no idea why. What's going on? It seems quite obsessed. Did you cause this?
I mean, they're hunting you, so I assume you did.
I've not done anything. I've not been up there.
Look at Milo. Now is not the time for fucking jokes. Wrin, they're coming after you because they're trying to get revenge on us. You need to run.
She nods.
Joking.
The party tried to get between Wrin and this monster, and they tried to grapple it to pin it down, but they were unsuccessful, and it quickly reached her. The totem mask began ripping into May, dealing large amounts of damage to her, and while Gorgon was able to partially reduce that with his glimpse of redemption, it was still ticking her down quite reliably. The party just jumped on the monster and tried desperately to pull it off her. However, they could not get it away. Ornifex cast Forbidding Ward to try and protect Wrin, while Milo said a short prayer and used a Slayer Strike, which did hit. Wrin cast a 2-action heal on herself, and then she fully just dipped and went inside her tent to leave the others to handle this. Luckily for her, sadly for me, the Totem Mask does not get reactive strikes. Gorgon and Spook at this point blocked the doorway, and they got lucky with a critical hit, which damaged the monster further. Now that its path was actually blocked, it didn't really have a choice but to focus on the party for a bit. I wanted to use the Drink Flesh ability, so I swung 2 attacks at May, but sadly only one of them hit. It did try and shove them out of the way, but it critically failed and ended up falling prone. Rosewarden definitely took this opportunity to unleash on the beast, blasting it with spells and carving it up with attacks. By the time it reached the Totem Mask's turn again, it was very close to dead. I decided to go with a bit of a Hail Mary strategy here. The Totem Mask has 2 abilities that would be very interesting if you were to run this monster as a long-term villain over an entire adventure. Firstly, it has something called Living Form. This lets it take on the form of a creature that is hit with its Drink Flesh ability. The second ability is Shape Flesh. This lets it spend a minute reshaping a creature's vital facial features, such as its mouth, nose, eyes, etc. You can see how this would be used in a low-level adventure where it kills and replaces an NPC subtly, only for the party to find out that person's actually dead and then have this showdown. Obviously, I was already at the end of a combat, and it hadn't done any of this setup, but I decided to kind of warp the rules a little bit for the sake of drama. I ignored the requirement of Living Flesh, and had the creature, in front of everybody, take the form of Wrin. And it immediately began begging for its life as Wrin. Since this was so brazen, I did not think this was going to work as a strategy. I just thought it would make the party feel uncomfortable about having to kill Wrin. It was literally just there to make them feel creeped out. But they did hesitate. You watch as it begins to almost bubble. Its flesh, its body begins to like ripple across. And you see that the creature bubbles and reshapes and is lying there as Wrin. It fully takes her appearance, her clothing, her voice, And you see Wrin lying there heavily cut up, like almost curled into like a fetal position. And it looks up at you. Please stop. What are you doing? The one you're supposed to be attacking isn't there.
Oh no.
No, and I.
No!
No, I'm not doing that because we need to figure this out first.
Yeah, you see Wrin is lying on the ground looking up at you, almost like barely conscious. You see the door flap sort of flap open, and Wrin stood there, glaring down at the other one. You're not seriously believing this? Just fucking kill it. What the fuck are you doing?
Hold on. There's no
Look.
rush. We got it where we want it. Okay?
The one on the ground looks genuinely terrified.
Surely the real Wrin is the only one that will have all of her memories, right? This thing wouldn't remember the same thing that our Wrin would. So I mean, if we ask her something only she would know, then we'll know which one's real.
Yeah, but we don't know that. It could have taken her memories. Like, that's not unheard of as far as I know.
I mean, it
But
wouldn't hurt to ask, right? Because if they both get it right, then we have another plan. Okay, well, both Wrins. Before we met, I helped in a town to fight a monster, and it didn't end very well. But which monster did I have to fight?
Okay, you can tell the one on the ground is like slipping in and out of consciousness. The one in the doorway is like, it was a Jinkin, I think. Why are we doing this? Why are we not just killing it?
Because if it was you and the other way around, you'd want us to make sure, and I want to make sure.
This seems ridiculous.
Well,
Why are you
honestly,
in
the
such a
Wrin I
hurry?
know, yeah, the Wrin I know wouldn't.
It
wouldn't
just
rush them
tried
along
to
as
fucking
serious
kill
as
me.
this.
This is dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Not right now, it ain't.
It's also highly offensive.
Yeah, I can see that.
The one on the ground, his eyes sort of flutter open. It was a Jinkin.
Oh, dang it! He just copied them.
The one in the door is like, I just said that.
Right then, I'm gonna do the other way round. I'm gonna ask the one on the floor first. You need to answer first. After we fought the Jinkin, what did the townspeople do that was honestly horrendous and made me leave?
The Totem Mask obviously couldn't answer this. It didn't know. So it tried to make a distraction and stall for time. Thinking about the shape flesh ability, it's a full minute to fully seal over all of the facial features, right? So I figured a subtle touch would be enough to start the process. As May asked her question, the group heard a muffled scream from behind them. They turned to see Wrin clawing at her face, in which she didn't have a mouth anymore. She stumbled back into the shop, crashing through displays and tumbling over tables, panicking in full fear. With no time to spare, Ornifex tried to recall knowledge about the creature they'd been facing and if this is an ability that it can do, and as part of this, she did now identify it as a Totem Mask. May at this point tried to knock out the fake Wrin, but undead are immune to unconscious. So I gave her the choice. Either this can leave it on 1 hit point, or it can kill it and be lethal damage. In a quick judgment call, May chose to kill the creature. Still unsure if this was the real Wrin for some reason. However, the ability on the Totem Mask states that it does not fade if it dies. It is permanent until the curse is lifted, or until surgery is done to cut the flesh back open. And since there's no mention of how to lift the curse, the party immediately jumped on surgery. So as the false Wrin slumped dead to the ground and the panicking Wrin within began to crash around her shop, Ornifex rushed in to try and begin this surgery. May and Gorgon held Wrin down while Ornifex attempted the surgery, and at first she failed, but a second attempt was successful, and Wrin was saved, even if she was extremely traumatized. As you manage to like break the surface and carve through to reveal like her mouth beneath, that breaking of the seal causes the flesh to almost turn to like clay and begin to like scrape away.
I'm gonna run over, kind of hold her shoulders. Wrin, look at me. You okay?
I'm okay. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I know you wanted us to kill it straight away, but we had to make sure. I don't know what I've done if I accidentally killed you.
It's fine.
Here, have a seat. Sit down. I'll get you something to drink.
She goes and sits on a one of her stools. Why are they after me? Does anybody know? I've not got anything to do with anything going on up there.
Well, I mean, after one of our fights, one of the people that's in charge, they kind of, I think they wanted to hit personally, and that he said that you're going to be the next battery.
Oh. That's lovely.
But, you know, we won't let that happen. But honestly, speaking of, and we look at everyone else, who the hell do you think he used to fire that one off?
The blue light of the Gauntlight flickered out, and the party realized that somebody must have fired it. But they were under the impression that Volluk was dead. The group decided that first priority, they were going to look around town and see if there had been any other attacks that needed resolving. So they hurried around Atari, checking on people. I think this is one of the first times that Rose Warden have really taken on the responsibility of being the protectors of this town. It's the first time they've gone out of their way to check the safety of the general populace, and it really feels like a good step forwards towards these being the true heroes of Atari, and taking on the mantle of Rose Guard, now Rose Warden. Luckily, no one else in Atari had been hurt, and there were rumors flying around that were getting escalated beyond any kind of reasonable amount about the number of undead kobolds or the state of Wrin's life. It was during this time that they decided to burn the fake Wrin to prevent any kind of confusion or exploitation of that corpse. As part of these checks, some of the group went up to see the druids. I knew that they'd want to investigate who had been used as the battery for the Gauntlight firing, and this is where they learned that information. I don't suppose you've seen one of my druids around? She went missing last night and she hasn't come back yet.
What are your druids, you say? Last night?
Yeah, she wandered off. Well, not wandered off. She went to get some supplies from nearby swamp, but she didn't come back. It's not unusual. People come and go every so often. They like to spend time in the wild, but spooky timing.
It's actually very, very, very unfortunate timing, because I don't think it's common knowledge. I don't think we've spread it around that much, but that tower, that lighthouse, when it goes off like this, it uses a person to do that.
See her eyes go wide.
We were trying to figure out how it fired again.
Don't think they used her.
I'm not certain. There could be other people and creatures down in those depths that we have no idea about. But it is very suspicious timing for someone to disappear right before this thing gets fired off. Who were they? Their name. We will look for them up there. We're going back there. Annabelle. Okay.
Yeah, please look. See if you've made me awful worried now.
Yeah, for good reason, I'm afraid. But I didn't want to deceive you. But we'll definitely have a look, and maybe you guys could scout around a little bit in pairs, presumably. It's just isn't stuck somewhere in the swamp or anything like that.
My initial instinct was to choose a much more prominent NPC. However, it felt a little unfair to kill off an NPC off-screen without any kind of chance to intervene. However, I do think killing someone important to the party would have been better for making them hate Volluk even more. After their checks, Rose Warden reconvened at Wrin's shop to talk about next steps.
Was everything okay out in the city?
Yes and no. It's calm now, and everyone thinks we killed 300 of them for some reason. I don't know how that started, but the important thing is that one of the druids has gone missing since yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is not good.
it is not. So we should probably get up there and check the chamber to see if there's a desiccated husk there now.
I kind of feel like this is our fault.
I don't think it's our fault that they just kidnap people and kill them.
Yeah, I mean, if we were stronger, if we had an army with us, it could have gone faster and better. But
I mean, this also kind of suggests that Volluk definitely got away, right? He's not
Yeah.
dead. I mean, there might be somebody else doing this, but he was definitely the one leading this part of it. So we can assume it's him, right?
Maybe
I think so too. Yeah.
there could be other lieutenants working further down, but definitely they're sending someone up as an agent to kidnap people. It could even be a group. They might have shadowy assassin kidnapper zombies or something, which I hope not.
Do you guys think Wrin will be okay if we go up there? Like, they can't fire it off twice consecutively, right?
I don't think so.
Don't they usually keep to the schedule? So I think once a month.
True.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the process of charging up that amount of whatever energy they're using, it does seem
Yeah.
to take a while.
And could we go ask, like, the town guards to go and just maybe keep an extra eye out on that side of town, just in case? We don't know if they have a plan B to take her.
Our heroes then discussed whether it was safe to go back to the Gauntlight right then. They had, after all, just experienced a very intense, tiring day there. This is still the same day in which Milo had his surgery, but they decided that time was of the essence, and even if they just poked their head in to see if there was somebody there, they could run away if things got bad. So they returned to Volluk's lounge, where he was notably absent. However, the door to the circular chamber was open. As they began to look around, they did find the shriveled remains of a druid on the table. While the other three were in the circular chamber, May and Spook had remained in the lounge, and May noticed a letter on Volluk's desk, one that had been very purposely placed. So she, of course, began heading over to it, but I interrupted her. As that's happening, Milo, you hear a voice sort of echo out from behind you as you're looking over this table.
Well, well, well. Looks like that worm twat was correct. He did bring you here.
And you turn around, and floating, descending through the ceiling,
Oh.
you see your father.
Oh my god.
And as you slowly turn and face him, he gives you the warmest smile he's ever given you, but it's incredibly contrasting to the fact that he's bringing his great axe down on you. And so combat began. I had originally planned this encounter with Gregory Saresh to be a haunt, and to be immediately after his death during the rock fight many sessions ago. The reason I hadn't done that is because the timing just hadn't felt right. Since we had managed to get Rock's player back, I wanted it to be more about him, and I didn't want to distract with Gregory stuff. But because of the delay, I've been sitting on this character for so long, wondering what do I do with them. I've always been a little unsure how to resolve this. I felt like it needed to be a big significant moment, but then I had to decide who had fired the Gauntlight. I knew I didn't want it to be Volluk because I have plans for Volluk, and there's a reason he's not here. Originally, I thought maybe I would use the Void Glutton, but I had not done that fight for a reason. It would have been weird to just move it here and then do it anyway. It then occurred to me that I could both kick off May's backstory content and finish Milo's at the same time. So as Gregory Saresh descended from the ceiling and attacked Milo, he, in passing, revealed that Volluk had been the one to initiate this trap. Due to the ongoing trauma, I did have a special rule for Milo in this fight. Every saving throw that Milo took during this fight, he would be taking 1 degree of success lower than what he actually rolled. The player agreed that this made total sense, and honestly, the dice kind of supported this as well. Milo reacted quickly to this initial attack, dodging his father's great axe. Gregory then used Frightful Moan to fear the party. Although in this case, this ability took the form of Gregory telling Milo that he is proud of him, an affirmation that he never gave during his life. Very contrasting to the barrage of greatsword attacks that were happening at the same moment. Milo bravely faced his ghost father down, but the fear and the trauma meant that his attacks were just not landing. This was an odd session, to be honest, in terms of encounters, because both the fights relied on the enemies only attacking one specific target. So I guess the first one was almost practice for this one with the players. Some of the other members of Rose Warden did land minor resisted attacks, but this just seemed to make him more angry as he was focused solely on Milo. And you kind of get his attention, he turns towards you.
No, leave us alone. We don't need you. It's not about you.
His allies layered Milo with protections such as guidance or Shield of the Spirits, but this only angered Gregory further. His unnaturally kind tone flickered to one of rage. One of the abilities I gave Gregory is called Vengeful Father. It's where he makes 2 strikes against 2 creatures, and regardless of whether they hit, the ghost's son takes mental damage at the sight of their father trying to kill their friends. Gregory went for Spook and May as they had been the ones dealing the most damage to him. He only hit May, but Milo did take that mental damage. Gregory then seemed to flicker back into this nicer version of himself. It did seem like in Gregory's perception of the situation, they were just training like they used to do when they were younger. Milo was swinging wildly, his attacks were missing.
And as I do that, I'm gonna ramble about how it wasn't supposed to be like this. Why did you have to go down here on your own? We would have handled the situation. He didn't have to react the way he did. This is his own fault, not mine.
Okay.
Yeah, and flail wildly with my sword as I do that.
Okay. As Milo fumbled, the rest of Rosewarden tried desperately to bring Gregory down. May tried to grapple him, but, ghost. At this point, Milo, or rather the dice, began reacting well. In a full turn of 3 attacks, only 1 of them hit now. And then Milo critically hit his father with a Slayer's Strike. This damage took Gregory past half hit points. And with this, his personality shifted again. He became cruel and angry, yelling at Milo about how he is a failure, how he's not going to survive the Gauntlight, how he's destined for failure. The whole group rallied against Gregory, trying to bring down this vengeful spirit. Eventually, May's exorcist training kicked in, and she felled the ghost. Gregory is berating Milo, screaming about how he's a disappointment, how he's the reason Gregory died. And May, your exorcist training suddenly takes over. How do you put Gregory to rest?
When he's like screaming at Milo, I want to like put my hand on top of his head, and like his eyes start glowing and his mouth opens, it starts glowing, and he's like, ah. And I'm kind of like, the hand with like the glowy bracelet is like glowing as well. And I'm holding his head and he's just like basically imploding on the spot. Like, and he's
Are
like,
you consuming my dad?
Okay. You place your hand on the back of his head and invoke your exorcist rites, forcing Gregory to move on. And in doing so, give him this second of sanity, which he looks down at Milo with a lot of sorrow in his eyes. So sorry. Please forgive me. And then he fades away, blasted by the exorcist energy that May is putting out, and fading finally into the afterlife.
Oh,
he's gone now. He's finally at rest.
yeah, we knew he were here somewhere. I just had hoped he hadn't been corrupted, but that was silly to think. Did you hear what he said right as he came in?
Mentioned Volluk, right?
Yeah. This was a trap.
Dang. I mean, even if it was a trap, it's one I'm glad we triggered. At least we finally got to send him off.
Yeah. But
That
this
was one
Volluk
question.
is pissing me off.
Yeah.
After the battle had ended, May recalled that there had been a letter on Volluk's desk and went to see if it held any clues. Unfortunately, it did.
How sweet. What a lovely mother. You had better grant her wish and come visit. Take too long, and I'll have no choice but to put her to work charging my tower.
Volluk was gone. After reforming, he targeted the 2 people he had pulled from May's memories, Wrin and her parents. He had left Wrin to those within the Gauntlight, but he had seemingly left and somehow gotten a hold of a letter meant for May from her parents, and it was quite clear that he now held them hostage.
Wait, this is from my mum. I sent her a letter days ago. I've been waiting for a reply. How does he have this?
Volluk must know a lot of things around here, especially about us.
But she's
yeah,
miles away.
But are you 100% certain it's from your parents?
I mean, look at what she's talking about. It's things that she would know. like mentioning anything about Mitsuyo and like talking about how dangerous everything is, talking about their farming. It must be them.
True that.
Whose blood do you think this is? The messengers?
Oh my god, I don't even want to think. Oh no. I was gonna put my head in my hands. I need to go. I need to go home. Right?
I don't know. I think so. How far away is it?
God, a few weeks. I mean, clearly it's where he wants me to go, but I can't just not go and see if they're okay.
No, I get it. Yeah, you have to go.
Or is he just trying to get you out of the tower? Get you out of town for a bit?
Yeah, but it's my mother.
Then what if we all go?
And leave the Gauntlight with no one here? I can't ask that. It's not fair to the town. It's not fair to you. I'll be fine.
I'll just tell my mom to leave for Absalom for a while.
What about the rest of the town?
Yeah, there's still an entire town of other people.
We're all what they've got now. Honestly, you guys can do whatever it is that you want to do, but I can go on my own. It's fine. But I'm not going to stop you if you want to come with, but I do think someone needs to stay here. I don't think it's fair leaving everyone, but it's your choice. But I need to go. I'm going to start bundling everything into my bag.
All right, I'm going to embarrass myself a little bit here. It never fucking occurred to me that some of the party might want to stay and look after Atari. But of course they do. When I planned this, I just thought, ooh, what a lovely little trip away from Atari, change of pace, they get to see some new sights, they get to experience a couple of new locations. But of course, the party needs to stay here and look after the town because this constant train of awful things have been happening here. Of course. I'm so dumb. What ended up happening is May and Milo are going to go find May's parents, while Ornifex, Spook, and Gorgon are going to stay behind to protect Atari. While I could run these extra sessions as these smaller groups, I kind of like keeping everybody involved with everything. I don't tend to do secret scenes or secret sessions. So, during the May and Milo sessions, the other three are going to create temporary characters. And then during the Meantime in Atari sessions, the other two are going to make temporary characters. I've actually done this before on a much larger scale, where my group at the time decided that they needed to split up and pursue various goals. So for over a year of real time, the parties played temporary characters and their real characters during two separate stories in the same campaign in the same world. And that worked super well and was super fun. Before heading out, Milo did tell his mum to go to Absalom and to stay there until he told her that it's safe to come back. It took a fair bit of persuading, but eventually she did agree and she has gone. I'm a little disappointed by this from a GM perspective, as now Milo doesn't really have any NPCs that I can mess with. But it's my responsibility now to find new ways to keep him engaged in the story. And to be fair, as we've seen, Milo is very good at getting himself into messy situations, regardless of what I do. So after some somber farewells, May, Milo, and Wrin headed out towards May's hometown. And we ended the session there. I think this was a really good session, but I don't think I got a fair shot with the troops, so I'm going to bring them back again during May's arc, because that's going to be out in the open, it's going to be suitable. And I'm going to run them a bit more normally, a bit more in a balanced encounter, I guess, and see what I actually think about them. I think it was a little janky to have two encounters where the enemy was focused on one target in the same session. I think that's a perfectly fine encounter style to do, but I probably shouldn't have made two fights have the same mechanic behind them. And of course, I was dumb for not assuming the party were going to split like this. Next time, you're going to be in for a big session, because at the time that I'm recording this, May's arc is already done. It's 4 sessions long, and I'm going to put all 4 sessions in one campaign diary. So that's going to be 4 sessions of cross-country, exploring, adventuring, tackling armies, essentially. And I'm going to be trialing some of those new Pathfinder subsystems to varying degrees of success. So please look forward to that. Once again, Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a great year. I hope the next year is awesome for you guys. I hope as a channel we can grow, get some new systems in this channel, grow this community to be larger, and just try out some new things. I'm always trying to make the quality of these videos better, and I will continue to do so. So if you're willing to stick with me for another year, hopefully we can hit 400, 500 subscribers by the end of next year. If you've enjoyed the video, then, like, subscribe, comment, because those really do help a channel grow. But aside from that, I shall see you maybe once more this year, but if not next year. And bye-bye.